Here's the truth no one knows about Rudo. His true power isn't just about trash. It's about emotions, memory, and something divine buried deep inside him. Rudo taps into a force that rewrites the rules of reality. Even the givers are scared of what he's becoming. And the craziest part is that he doesn't even know his real identity yet. So when he discovers the truth about the world, the heavens will no longer be safe from his revenge, as he's becoming the strongest cleaner in history. Now I'm going to uncover every single mystery regarding this, starting with Rudo surviving the fall from heaven to the surface, which is close to impossible. It's meant to be a fatal punishment for anyone from the upper world called the Sphere. However, our MC is special. Normal humans die on impact, but we find out Rudo is the descendant of the Undertaker Canis from 200 years ago, and his father is called Surebrec or Surebrec, however you want to pronounce it, but this surname is very important, and by the way, it's basically Cerberus spelt backwards. Now Rudo's father is notorious in the heavens and in the world below, dubbed the pit, but his ancestor from 200 years ago named Canis was one of the few people who could ascend up to the sphere from the ground without dying at the border. Rudo is a spherite born in the slums, where residents are labeled filths and treated as criminals by default. The upper class city sees them as dirty outsiders, blaming them for every crime and casting them into the pit without trial just for existing on the wrong side of society. But Rudo being thrown away like trash but surviving represents the core theme of Gachiakuta, how discarded things can still hold unimaginable power. What makes him so terrifyingly special isn't just his ability to weaponize garbage, it's the fact that in a world that treats everything as disposable, Rudo finds value in what everyone else throws away. Back in heaven, the sphere, Rudo wasn't strong or born gifted. He would scavenge through trash, not to survive, but to fix things. Broken radios, shattered tools, torn clothes. To Rudo, trash wasn't trash, it was potential. That ability to see the worth in the worthless is what defines his power as a giver. Rudo reimagines every piece of trash with emotion and intent, making it stronger than ever compared to others. But you're probably wondering, ABD, what exactly is a giver? Well, in Gachiakuta, vital instruments known as Jinki are powered by thought, a mysterious source of power on the surface. Just think of thought like chakra or nen. Now this thought accumulates over time, turning into energy, which creates a phenomenon where objects are able to take in its power. One of these being the trash beasts. They come alive because of the power of thought accumulating and giving them energy from the trash thrown down from the sphere. However, givers are able to take a vital instrument, or in other words, an object very close to their heart, and turn it into a weapon to fight the trash beasts on the ground. This concept is known only by a few people on the sphere heaven, like Rudo's adoptive dad Rector, but on the surface, the general public knows all about this, and some look down on givers as dependents, as they obsess over a single item. So pretty much, in this world, like believe it or not, those dudes with waifu pillows would actually be overpowered. Sleeping with that shit for decades and doing all sorts of stuff with it, it would actually make them a giver in this universe.
This is bullshit.
Now, it doesn't matter if you're a good or bad person. Anyone can become a giver. The biggest downside to being one is the fact that they only can use one vital instrument. Because of this, if you steal that instrument, it renders them powerless and it's a sign of total disrespect. But Rudo, our MC, he's built different, and he's secretly the most overpowered person in the entire manga because he has an unlimited amount of vital instruments at his disposal to be used as weapons or support. Now, let's be frank, Rudo's life is a certified L. Born to two murderers, raised in the slums, everyone thought he was gonna go full psycho. The only dude who ever cared was Rector, who gave him gloves to hide the burns on his hands that his parents caused. Then one day, Rudo's like, today's the day, Alex. watch out my crush. But nah, Rector gets killed in front of him. And guess who they blame? Him. Bro lost his foster dad, got rejected by the girl, executed, crash landed in a death zone, and then got sold like junk. At that point, bro, I'd be cooking revenge arcs in my sleep, waking up with fresh hatred.
This world shall know pain.
But to nobody's surprise, being sold off was a test orchestrated by Engine. He's the dude with all the aura, leader of RUDO'S group, and the guy that all the girls watching this anime are gonna simp for. Engine wanted to see if RUDO had the potential to become a giver, which is exactly what happened, as through his gloves, RUDO was able to transform the chains which bound him into a weapon. This led Engine, and by extension the rest of the cleaners, to believe RUDO'S power was the ability to turn anything he touches into a jinky vital instrument, completely, and I mean completely, breaking the laws that givers have lived by for decades. So after awakening his powers, RUDO joins the cleaners, wanting to find some way back up to the sphere to slaughter all those who wronged him, including the masked man we know as the Angel, who can travel between the two worlds. If you want me to do another video regarding that dude, the Angel, and why they killed his adopted father, make sure to hit the notification bell and like the video, because I plan to make more Gachiakuta videos, but I need your support. But getting back to the point, because RUDO is from a special bloodline and has insanely powerful gloves, he is a prime target for multiple organizations on the ground, including the Raiders, a group of evil givers who plan to destroy the sphere. They want RUDO to join their cause due to his knowledge of heaven and also the gloves he carries. It's during his first encounter with the Raiders where RUDO meets Jabba, and by the way, this dude, he was busting nuts from getting hurt. This guy completely pushes RUDO over the edge, hurting his newfound friends with his poison claws. And in a moment of pure rage, RUDO takes the lucky charm held by Gris and transforms it into a jinky that looks like this. As a result, it turns the tide of the fight, as this lucky charm forcefully shifts RUDO out of the original attack line, replacing his position automatically. Jabba retreats, and the true nature of RUDO'S powers are determined. It's not turning anything he touches into a vital instrument, but it's to bring out the value of anything he touches to its fullest according to his imagination or intent. So in the fight against Jabba, Gris prayed for their safety and return, and then RUDO'S feelings was to protect his friends as Jabba was just too strong. So the lucky charm automatically detected what they wanted and created a power that would enact what RUDO desired. But this is like only the start of RUDO'S true power and why he's so strong. Because in truth, RUDO'S vital instrument is the pair of gloves, also known as 3R. And yeah, it literally stands for reduce, reuse, recycle. They're part of a legendary set of items called the Watchman Series. And what makes them so special is the fact that they contain an unlimited amount of thought, making them busted beyond belief. Like imagine having unlimited chakra. Ain't nobody beating that. But these special gloves RUDO possesses have existed as far back as 6 generations ago. And the leader of the Raiders, Zodor, stated that the Watchman series originally belonged to a single human, which is later confirmed by the info broker Kuro. This was none other than RUDO'S ancestor Canis. But here's the catch. Only those who have lost a part of themselves can wield its power. We're talking about emotional damage. So to no one's surprise, we know what RUDO lost. It's his humanity and true identity. Like, did you know Spherites are all descendants of people who originally lived on the ground? Generations ago, a large number of people from the surface left for the skies, and for decades this group, who became known as the Sky People, dumped both their trash and criminals onto the surface, rendering it unlivable. Years later, like the people in heaven, they've forgotten that a surface even existed because the culture and times erased history, and they assumed that the pit or ground is just an endless darkness. So Rudo's entire purpose is to uncover the truth that is hidden under multiple layers of secrecy, with the first clue being his ancestor Canis that left him a letter. The last record of Canis was his will, in which he stated that he had failed to stop the humans, and all that he could do was bury them, referring to the Watchman series. He then tells his children to live happy lives whilst he breaks the chain. So as you can tell, the truth is getting even more insane, because the actual situation is like when Minato sealed the Nine Tails into Naruto, hoping that one day he'd utilize its power to save the entire ninja world. Similarly, you see those scars that Rudo has all over his hands and look unbearable? Well, his parents must have done this on purpose so that he could use the gloves properly. Rudo is heavily scarred with ring-like patterns, but when he wears the 3R gloves, it soothes excruciating pain from the scars. This naturally made the gloves his vital instrument, because guess what? The manga reveals that the longer someone gives their object love and care, the more seasoned and therefore more powerful it becomes as a vital instrument. This is called improving its quality. The higher the quality, the stronger the transformation. By the time most givers awaken their weapons, they already have a deep bond with that item. They know what it means to them. And that's another reason why Rudo's 3R gloves become even stronger than regular people. In fact, when Rudo and Follow switch clothes to confuse the enemy in the information broker, Follow described wearing 3R as his mind being eaten alive. Some other Watchman series items we've seen include Armo's boots and Zoddo's coat, each with insane powers, like making someone fall in love with you or growing wings to fly, but that's for another video. But with the 3R gloves, Rudo can take an object like a teapot, plunger, or fence and draw out its absolute maximum potential. Take the paintbrush Rudo transformed. He squeezed out the remaining ink using 3R, which then materialized as a spike trap that destroyed a horde of trash beasts. Another funny moment is the keyboard. Like, he's literally a keyboard warrior like some of you out there. Rudo types like normal, but when he hits enter, it launches the key as a projectile. He literally typed "fuck you" and deleted a trash piece on sight. But there's still a downside to his powers. First of all, the power of 3R is extremely taxing on his body. He's limited to powering up 3 instruments at a time, and once Rudo uses an object, it disintegrates into dust, meaning he's constantly improvising with new tools. He can't just pull the same keyboard or paintbrush from his pocket every time. When it's gone forever. However, during the confrontation between the cleaners and raiders, our goat, he unlocked another overpowered ability called concentration. Instead of awakening 3 objects, Rudo channels all his energy into just one. This makes the item 3 times stronger, but also uses up all his stamina. He first uses this in the fight against Bundus, creating a giant gun from a basic nail gun. Fueled by his rage, Rudo's concentration power completely destroys Bundo's vital instrument. And this isn't even a small feat in strength, because Bundus is widely regarded to be one of the strongest characters in the entire series, and he got promoted by Zoddo. And later, during the information broker arc, they enter no man's land, the most polluted zone where the air is contaminated and the trash beasts are the most dangerous. Any average person or giver that enters would die instantly. Rudo and the cleaners come in contact with the King of Tori, the strongest of all, and it destroys the entire squad with ease. But what does Rudo do? He turns a box into a giant Cerberus head and devours it. All the givers realize that, bro, Rudo, you could become the strongest in the world, because later we find out yet another unique ability during Rudo's first solo mission. Our MC can turn other people into givers. After all, his entire character is about finding value in anything, and that includes people. That's where Follow comes in. He joined the cleaners inspired by his friend Alan, wanting to prove that even an average person could become something great. But, you know, Follow, he fumbled hard. He didn't get the girl, he was never cool, he wasn't special, he was just background support slaving away for years. And then, in his eyes, Rudo shows up out of nowhere, instantly becoming the team center. So naturally, due to Follow's inferiority complex and multiple misunderstandings, understandings, he had an outburst and crashed out during a fight. He starts raging at Rudo after thinking that he was looking down on him. Follow snaps at the wrong time and storms off straight into a fight that he can't win. He gets wrecked by a trash beast, and this downward spiral convinced Follow that he had no purpose and he shouldn't have been born. Follow was ready to die and give his weapon to the protagonist of the story as he deemed himself nothing. But Rudo tells him if he wants to crash out, he better do that shit to the max with his heart put into it with a better That's when something insane happens. Rudo brings that bitch up and says, "You're not done yet." Rudo sees value in Follow even when he doesn't. And that moment, combined with the energy flowing from Rudo's gloves 3R, it triggers something crazy. Follow awakens his vital instrument, a massive hammer forged from the one item he's always carried. Even Jabba once said Follow had potential, but it wasn't until Rudo activated his aura, because we learn Follow didn't turn to dust after Rudo deactivated his powers, meaning he awakened on his own. Normally, it takes years and training to become a giver, but Rudo's 3R gloves catalyze that transformation. They transfer anima, the essence of thought, and ignite a reaction that speeds up the process to crazy levels. And now, in the latest manga chapters, Rudo doesn't just want revenge, he wants answers. Who is the angel? Why do Spherites throw away people like trash? And why does it feel like he was meant to fall? Well, I'll be covering all of it in the next breakdown. But in the meanwhile, enjoy more peak fiction by watching this video on your screen right now.